Incredible 60-year-old Suga mama reveals life-changing secret to young husband's 6 days after wedding. The small Midwest town buzzed with gossip like honeybees in a blooming garden. "Can you believe it?" whispered Edna. Her eyes widened with disbelief. "Suga mama's married a boy half her age." The whispers flowed through town like the sweet scent of fresh pastries. And there they were, Doris, the vibrant 60-year-old known for her kindness, and Jake, her 25-year-old artist husband, lost in each other's laughter over steaming mugs of coffee. But just 6 days into their marriage, the storm clouds rolled in. Jake sat at the kitchen table, staring at the blank page before him, his paintbrush idle beside him. The dreams he once nurtured felt heavy, crushed beneath the weight of an unforgiving world. His heart was aching in ways he couldn't yet articulate. "Maybe I should get a real job," he murmured, his voice trailing off. Doris's heart clenched. How could the light in his eyes dim so quickly? "Jake, your art. It's so important," she urged. Her words hung like warm bread, meant to be comforting but somehow fell flat in the chill of his doubt. She could see the storm in his eyes, and it made her own insecurities bubble to the surface. "Everyone's talking, Doris. About us. About my age," Jake confessed, his forehead creased with worry. "What if I can't make a living doing this?" "Honey," Doris said, her voice steady but her heart pounding. "My late husband had a secret too. He was an artist." She reached for a dusty box nestled in the corner of the kitchen, its old wood creaking like worries long hidden. Pulling out yellowing sketches and vibrant paintings, she spread them across the table. Each piece spoke of the life he could have led, filled with color and ambition. Jake's eyes widened. I didn't know tears pricked at the corners of his eyes. This was a man he had never met, yet here was his spirit, captured in every stroke. Why didn't he ever show this? With a deep breath, Doris continued. He was afraid of what others would think. She could see the flicker of hope igniting in Jake. In that moment, their love turned toward a shared truth. A truth that not only broke down walls but also lit a fire in their hearts. Just as they began to dream of a brighter future, reality seeped in. The whispers grew louder, shadows followed them in town. Doris felt the weight of judgment pressing down like a heavy quilt, the community's expectations leaving an imprint. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jake couldn't escape the weight of the world as he prepared for the local art show, which promised to reveal every brushstroke of his heart and his truth. Doris watched him, the storm of nerves swirling around him, and felt a fierce protectiveness rise within her. The anticipation was thick enough to cut with a knife. Could her Suga mama spirit shield him from the harshness of their small town? Would their love stand resilient against the biting winds of judgment? As the day of the show loomed closer, a lingering question echoed in their hearts: could love truly transcend societal expectations, or would it be their undoing? The uncertainty hung in the air, thick and electric. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, casting a warm glow over their little kitchen, Doris could see the swirling clouds of self-doubt still enveloping Jake. He paced around the room, his eyes darting between his brushes and the wall filled with blank canvases. Each step was heavy, like he was trudging through wet cement. The weight of his anxiety dripped like a droplet of paint, threatening to spill and ruin the pristine white of hope. "Jake," Doris called softly, breaking the cycle of his stormy thoughts. "Why don't we talk about the art show? What are you thinking?" He paused, his shoulders slumping. "It feels like I'm stepping into a room full of critics ready to tear me apart. What if they hate my work? What if they hate me? Then they hate a piece of paper and paint," she countered gently. "But they won't hate you. You're brilliant, and you've got so much to share. Everyone sees us as a joke," he said, his voice low and wavering. "Maybe they're right. How can I stand up there with a brush when I can't even face them? Doris stepped forward, her eyes locking onto his. You're not alone in this. We fight together. The whispers might be loud, but your voice, your art is louder. She hoped her words would anchor him, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. But Jake remained still, uncertainty stealing every ounce of joy from his heart. Just then, a knock echoed softly on the door. Doris exchanged a puzzled glance with Jake before heading to answer it. She opened the door to find Edna, her neighbor, with a sweet smile that dropped as soon as she caught sight of Jake's troubled expression. Hey dear, just checking in on you too, Edna said, her voice tinted with a cautious cheerfulness. Hey, Edna, Jake replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Doris stepped aside, inviting Edna in, but quickly stepped away from the tension that filled the room as Edna sat across from Jake. A long silence stretched between them. Jake's fingers drummed nervously on the table, and Edna's gaze flitted between the couple. Finally, Edna broke the silence. So the art show is coming up, huh? You must be excited to present your work. I guess, Jake mumbled, his eyes glued to the table, avoiding her gaze. He was trapped now in a wave of doubt and anxiety, and the judgment he feared wrapped tightly around his chest. Jake, Doris said, her heart pounding, this show could be your moment. You have to give them something beautiful. The phrase hung in the air. Something beautiful. With clumsy grace, Jake lifted his head, meeting Edna's gaze, which was filled with hesitant hope. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked. What if it's not beautiful enough? Edna leaned forward, her sincerity breaking through the fog in the room. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. This is your truth, and it's worth sharing even if it's not perfect. Doris felt a flicker of warmth ignite inside her, a surge of possibility. Exactly. The world needs to see your heart, Jake. And when they do, but a sudden knock on the door interrupted their conversation. It was louder, more insistent this time, and the moment of connection shattered as Doris felt a chill wash over her. She opened the door to a group of faces, friends and judgment alike, there to speak of the show. For Jake, it was as if the air had thickened into an impenetrable wall. What now? He whispered, panic lacing his words. Doris turned to him, her heart racing. Whatever happens next, remember, this is your chance. Let us show them the art that's waiting inside you. And as her words sank into him, he felt the weight of fear collide with an icy resolve. But with so many eyes on them, could he truly unleash his spirit onto the world? The question loomed over them, and in that moment, all they could do was wait. Would the judgments of their small town threaten to stifle their flame, or would they risk it all for love and truth at the show? Doris opened the door wide. A wave of eager faces greeted her, each member bringing an air of anticipation and a splash of unwelcome scrutiny. Friends from the community, well-meaning yet loaded with expectations, piled into the kitchen, filling the small space with chatter. Hey Jake, can't wait to see what you've got for the art show, one of them chirped, clapping him on the shoulder as if that might ease his tension. Yeah man, go for it, another added, entirely oblivious to the storm swirling in Jake's eyes. Jake forced a laugh, but it hung awkwardly in the air. Each cheer sounded like a declaration of judgment. Thanks, he managed, feeling like a fish caught between water and a net. Doris stepped forward, trying to deflect the attention as she ushered everyone into the cozy dining room, where a single table felt entirely too small to host this gathering of expectation. Let us grab some snacks, she suggested, grateful to have something to occupy her hands. As she busied herself in the kitchen, her heart ached for Jake. She glanced back at him, standing on the edge of the room, his posture rigid. The layers of his self-doubt felt almost palpable, shadowing the laughter around them. Jake, she called softly, hoping the crowd might fade into the background. Let us show them what you've been working on. The mention of his art caused a hush to seep into the room like a spill of ink. All eyes turned to him, anticipation thickening the air. Jake swallowed hard, his heart pounding against his ribcage. Maybe I'm not ready, he stammered, turning to Doris, her encouraging smile overshadowing his inner turmoil. Just a peek, Edna chimed in, her voice sweet but insistently probing. Even just a sketch? Jake hesitated, his hands trembling. The breath of tension filled the space, each second a countdown to his surrender or his retreat. Doris took a step closer, her warmth wrapping around him like a blanket. It's just us. You don't have to show them everything. With a deep breath, he relented, slowly moving to the easel tucked in the corner. The crowd quietly shifted, eagerness palpable like static in the air. Each step felt monumental, each gaze heavy. Doris stood by his side, her presence a steadying force. He reached for the fabric draped over the canvas, finger trembling as it brushed the surface. This is the one I've been working on the most. As he pulled the cover away, a visible crack of light revealed the painting, a dynamic burst of color and raw emotion. The crowd gasped collectively, expressions shifting from curiosity to awe, and yet, beneath their admiration, dread twisted in Jake's gut. Would they truly see him, or would they only see what they wanted? Wow, Edna broke the silence, her eyes shining. This is incredible. Jake. He couldn't read her enthusiasm. You really think so? He whispered, unsure if he wanted to hear the answer. Absolutely. You've captured something amazing here. A small seed of hope began to sprout inside him. Maybe, just maybe, Edna and the others weren't here to judge, but to celebrate the courage it took to create. As the praise enveloped him, Doris squeezed his arm reassuringly, anchoring him in the moment. Yet, doubt still flickered like candlelight wanting for air. Would this be the turning point he desperately needed? Or would the weight of their small-town perception still loom too large, suffocating his flame before it could ignite? The room buzzed with admiration, but still, the specter of his fears hovered close. Just when he thought he might finally find his footing, he heard one final question that sent a chill down his spine. Jake, are you ready to make your first public debut? Shock and uncertainty ricocheted inside him, and he felt the rush of anticipation curdle into something darker. Could he really step into the spotlight, lay bare his heart, and finally confront the whispers that haunted him? The question hung in the air, heavy and charged, twisting Jake's stomach. The warmth of the room faded, replaced by a cold rush of doubt. Everyone was looking at him, expectant smiles plastered on their faces, but inside, he felt like he was sinking into quicksand. His mind raced. Make his first public debut? What if he failed? What if it turned into a disaster and everyone laughed? I don't know, he stammered, each word slippery like water between his fingers. Doris stepped closer, her eyes searching his. Jake, it's okay to be scared. Just think about how far you've come. Her voice was a gentle murmur, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. I thought I was ready, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. But now I'm not so sure. Edna chimed in, her tone encouraging but firm. You've already taken a brave step just by showing us your art. Think of all the people you'll inspire. Jake, your story matters just as much as your painting does. In that moment, something in Jake flickered, a fragile heartbeat of courage. Maybe he wasn't just showing his art. Maybe he was revealing a piece of himself. He thought of all the late nights spent poring over his easel, the moments of doubt, and the small triumphs that felt too small to celebrate. What if he began hesitantly? What if they don't get it? What if they don't like it? Then they don't? Doris spoke quietly, locking eyes with him. But don't let that fear stop you from sharing who you are. The world needs to see what you can do. Whether it's one person or 100, it's your journey. And sharing it is a part of that journey. Her words hung in the air, an invitation wrapped in warmth. Slowly, he nodded, a tinge of determination lighting up his chest. He could feel the energy in the room, that magical blend of belief and hope swirling around him. Okay, he said finally, his voice steadier. Okay, I'll do it. A chorus of cheers erupted from the group, laughter mixing with applause. It felt surreal, the way their joy enveloped him, pushing aside the shadows that had lingered too long. Let's talk details, Edna exclaimed, already bubbling with excitement. Have you thought about how you want to present your work? But as more questions flew around the room, Jake found himself focusing on Doris. Her smile was a beacon in the warmth of the moment. He realized now that this was more than just about him. This was about everyone who had ever felt overlooked, every young artist afraid to step into their light. The evening swirled around him, a blur of conversation and light-hearted banter. Finally, after a while, the laughter began to fade down to a gentle hum. Doris and Jake found themselves at the edge of the crowd. "Can you feel it?" she asked, her voice just above the buzz. "Something is shifting for you, I senti it?" Jake nodded slowly, his heart still racing but now lighter. "Yes?" He breathed through a wide smile. "I think it could be the start of something big." But as the celebration continued, a subtle flicker of doubt nudged at the back of his mind. Could he really follow through? Would he stand up and shine under the gaze of the very community he feared for so long? What if the truth he was going to lay bare opened old wounds he wasn't ready to confront? He glanced back at the gathering crowd, exhilaration wrapped in a layer of anxiety. Was he truly prepared for what lay ahead, not just in art but in revealing his heart to those around him? The thought lingered as Jake caught Doris's eye, and he felt a sudden wave of resolute determination wash over him. This was his moment. But what would it mean for him moving forward? The following morning, Jake woke to a sunbeam filtering through his window. He blinked, still feeling the residue of last night's excitement mixed with the faint sting of doubt. He lay there, the soft hum of morning wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. After a few moments, he shuffled into the kitchen. The familiar smell of brewing coffee filled the air, a small ritual that made the world feel just right. He poured himself a cup, letting the warmth seep into his hands. As he took a sip, the reality of his decision came crashing back. Tonight was the night he would unveil his art, and with it, a piece of his soul. He set his mug down and stared at the kitchen table. The bright, white page of his sketchbook lay waiting, filled with the strokes of his imagination but yet to see the world. The thought of showing it scared him. What if people didn't see the beauty he saw? He pictured the gathering later, that evening, friends, family, people he admired. Each face flashed in his mind, both encouraging and intimidating. But what if he faltered? What if the nerves wrapped around him in a vice grip, stifling any chance of expression? Just then, his phone buzzed, a lifeline in the midst of his spiraling thoughts. It was Doris. "Hey, just checking in. Ready for tonight?" Her message, full of light, warmed him. Jake quickly typed back, not sure yet, feeling the nerves. Within seconds, her reply popped up. "You've got this, Jake. Remember, it's about sharing your story, not just the art. Embrace it." He could almost hear her voice, encouraging him to breathe and appreciate the moment. He thumbed through his photos of the paintings he had created. Each brush stroke told a story of late nights and weary eyes, but also of hope and dreams. Doris's words echoed in his mind. His journey was about more than art. It was about expression, his journey, and the connections he could build with newfound determination. He sat at the table, picked up a pencil, and began to doodle. The lines flowed effortlessly, each stroke a reminder of who he was and the bravery he would need. This wasn't just a showcase. It was a celebration of everyone who had stood in the shadows, just like he once had. As Jake put the finishing touches to a sketch that embodied his growing courage, a knock on the door startled him from his concentration. It was Edna, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Ready to make magic tonight?" she asked, bursting through the door with an energy that was contagious. Jake chuckled, the humor breaking through his tension. "More like ready to make a fool of myself." "Absolutely not," Edna replied, walking over to the table. She glanced at his sketch and beamed with pride. "Look at this. You are going to inspire so many." With a deep breath, Jake smiled back, feeling a flicker ignite within him. Perhaps all this worry was just the shadow of his fears, overshadowing the truth of who he could be. As they chatted and prepared for the evening, Jake noticed how the tightness in his chest began to loosen. All these connections, friendships, and encouragement surrounded him like an invisible shield. He started to believe in the possibility of success, in the magic of sharing one's journey. But as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows through the window, another whisper of doubt crept in. What if the people he was ready to share his heart with fell short of the love and support he needed? Would he be met with acceptance or silence that echoed with judgment? The night was only hours away, and with that uncertainty resting heavy in the air, Jake couldn't shake the question that followed him like a shadow. Would tonight be the beginning of his dream or a painful reminder of his fears? As he got ready to leave the house, he caught his reflection in the mirror. The uncertainty churned within him, but so did the thrill of possibility. Would he take the plunge into this new chapter? Would he embrace his truth and let them see who he truly was? The answer to that question loomed just ahead, waiting for him to discover the moment of truth. Jake took a deep breath, absorbing the weight of the moment. The reflection staring back at him was a mix of hope and apprehension. With one last glance, he steeled himself, stepping out into the vibrant evening, the world buzzing with anticipation. The venue was alive with color and energy. He walked in, the warmth of laughter and conversation wrapping around him. Tables decorated with vibrant cloths showcased art from local talent, each piece telling a story. Just as he slipped inside, the scent of fresh paint and polished wood hit him, igniting both excitement and dread. Jake's heart raced as he scanned the room. Familiar faces smiled in his direction, but with each nod and wave, his confidence wavered. The sight of them felt like a tidal wave, crashing over him with a combination of love and expectation. "Let us find our spot," Edna said, her hand on his back, a gentle push forward. As they entered the main area, he spotted a large canvas draped in a modest cloth. It loomed over everything, waiting to be unveiled, like his own heart waiting to spill out its secrets. "Ready?" Edna asked, and Jake nodded, though he wasn't sure if he could trust his voice just yet. Before he could process it, a microphone found its way into Edna's hand. "Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming to this night of celebration and creativity." Her voice rang out, vibrant and filled with warmth, mingling with the notes of soft music in the background. Jake took a step back, watching the room fill with a sense of camaraderie. Edna continued, sharing her excitement, recounting stories of Jake's journey, his late nights, and his breakthroughs. Every story flicked another switch in him. Was it pride? Trepidation? As Edna's eyes sparkled, Jake found himself instinctively pulling away. She couldn't possibly convey the turmoil that churned within him. Could she? The room began to hush. And now, what we've all been waiting for. Edna dramatically swept her arm toward the canvas. "Let us unveil Jake's masterpiece." In an instant, the cloth was pulled away. A collective gasp filled the air, the mesmerized faces revealing a tapestry of emotions. Jake felt his chest tighten, stickiness creeping into his throat. The piece glowed under the soft lights, colors swirling with passion and vulnerability, each brush stroke a reflection of fears faced and hopes embraced. The murmur of admiration floated around him. "Wow," someone whispered. "Incredible." Another voice chimed in. "This speaks to so many feelings." Jake felt his insides twist as he searched their faces, looking for a hint of judgment, a flicker of misunderstanding, but he found none. Instead, the expressions were filled with awe. Could it be that they understood what he had poured into this? As he stood there, the weight of their gazes didn't feel like judgment. It felt like connection, nourishment to the soul he had always feared would be exposed. Suddenly, the spotlight shifted away as a figure approached him. It was Doris, her face glowing with pride. "You did this, Jake. You allowed yourself to be seen." Her words ignited a small fire in his heart. Maybe he wasn't as alone as he thought. Maybe the weight of his fears could transform into something lighter. He felt the stirrings of hope, mingled with the reality that he was, indeed, on the brink of something bigger. The night continued, laughter and cheers filling the air around him. Yet, through the revelry, the doubt still brewed in the background. Would this night truly change his life? Was he ready to embrace the vulnerability that came with sharing his truth? As the crowd began to disperse, Jake glanced back at his canvas, feeling a swell of emotions swell within him. The moment felt pivotal, holding the potential for everything he had ever desired. In the moments to come, who would he become? The dawn of his transformation was just beginning, and he could sense that something monumental awaited beyond the horizon. What would he reveal next? Jake's heart pulsed with a mix of excitement and fear as conversations buzzed around him. He scanned the room, his attention wavering between familiar faces and the colorful canvas that symbolized both his journey and his vulnerabilities. Doris's words echoed in his mind, her pride lighting a spark within him. Could he really embrace the next chapter? A moment later, he felt a gentle touch on his shoulder. It was Edna again, her smile wide and reassuring. "You're a rock star tonight, Jake. How are you feeling?" "Surreal," he admitted, taking a deep breath. "I'm still processing everything." Edna tilted her head. "It's okay to feel overwhelmed. You just shared a piece of your soul with everyone. That's no small feat." He appreciated her understanding. "I know it's a big step for me, but what if they only see the flaws?" The doubt crept back in, threatening to overshadow the newfound confidence he had begun to feel. "They see hope, Jake. They see what you've overcome. Your journey is beautiful," she assured him. Just then, the crowd slowly began to part, revealing a group of strangers approaching. Their faces held excitement mixed with curiosity, and Jake's heart sank. He was grateful for the support from friends, but adding new faces into the mix felt daunting. "Hey, Jake!" A tall man with wild hair stepped forward. "I'm Mark. I felt such a connection with your piece. It reminded me of my own struggles with anxiety and art. Do you mind if I ask how you tackled that?" Jake swallowed hard, focusing on Mark's earnest eyes. I used painting as an outlet. It became a way to channel my fears rather than let them control me." "Exactly." Mark's enthusiasm was infectious. "It's so important to have those outlets, and your work really captures that wrestling match we all go through." Encouraged by Mark's passion, Jake nodded. "Thanks, man." It took a while to realize that it's okay to show the messy parts. It's part of the process. Their conversation drew in others, and soon Jake found himself sharing his story, feeling the weight of his fears lift with every word. Each nod, each smile from those listening felt like validation. Edna stood nearby, watching with pride, and suddenly Jake understood that this was just the beginning of what he could offer to the world. If sharing his art was like peeling back layers, then talking about it was setting fire to the entire onion, raw, messy, yet so freeing. As the night wore on, the connection blossomed further. Between laughter, Jake exchanged numbers with Mark and a few other art enthusiasts, sensing a community beginning to bloom. Swiftly, a flicker of excitement surged through him. Maybe he was ready for this, ready to embrace the unknown. But just as he thought he had crossed a crucial threshold, an unexpected figure stepped through the crowd. His mother. Her face was a blend of pride and something else, something heavier. Jake's stomach twisted as she approached, and with each step, he felt the comforting warmth of the night wave goodbye. "Jake," she said softly, voice trembling. "Can we talk?" The simple request rang like an alarm bell in his ears. A rush of apprehension washed over him as he watched her stand amid the joyous chaos. This wasn't how he imagined this night going. "Of course," he replied, forcing a smile. "Is everything okay?" Her expression faltered, revealing the weight of unsaid words. The laughter and cheers faded into the background as he led her to a quieter corner, uncertainty boiling beneath the surface. What truth did she have left to share? And would it steal this fleeting moment of joy? Jake's heart raced as they stepped away from the laughter and warmth of the gathering, the buzz of excitement diminishing with every stride towards their secluded corner. The contrast was jarring. The soft glow of the art and the hope surrounding him evaporated into a chill brought on by uncertainty. "Mom, what's wrong?" he asked, adjusting his grip on the small table behind them, bracing himself for whatever might come next. Her anxious brow hinted at something deeper, something that went beyond simple concern. "I saw your art, Jake. It was incredible. The way you captured your struggle, I'm so proud of you," she began, her voice breaking slightly. But as she took a breath, Jake felt a tightening in his chest. She wasn't finished. "But," she continued, drawing out that word as if it were a tolling bell, "but there are things you don't know. Things about us." Jake repeated, confusion mingling with apprehension. He had thought the distance between them had shrunk, But in that moment, it felt as if it had widened, creating a chasm filled with unresolved history. Her gaze shifted away, and he could see her wrestling with her thoughts, a battle of emotions dancing across her features. I've kept so many secrets, Jake. Secrets that took this long to admit even to myself. Secrets? The word hung heavy between them. What do you mean? With a shuddering sigh, she searched his eyes, and in that shared silence, Jake felt the pain of her regrets, the weight of unspoken words. I couldn't handle everything when you were growing up. The divorce, the responsibilities, there were nights I felt so lost and alone. I didn't have the strength to guide you like I should have. So I distanced myself. Jake felt a rush of emotions, anger mingling with compassion. But you were my mom. I always needed you. I thought I was handling my struggles alone. Maybe no, she interjected, her voice rising slightly with intensity. I didn't let you see how much I was hurting. It's hard for me to say this, but you carried so much worry for me. That night we had that huge fight, I think it broke both of us. Didn't it? It was true. The fight had driven a wedge between them. But he had thought they moved past it, that they found a way to rebuild. You didn't have to put that on me, Mom, he said, his voice steady despite the pressure boiling beneath the surface. She looked down, tears glistening in her eyes. I know I should have been real with you. And now, seeing you thrive, and still feeling disconnected, it's killing me. I want to be part of your journey, Jake. The words pierced through him, filled with a longing he hadn't known he needed. Yet, alongside them came a surge of protectiveness for the boy he once was, and all the moments denied to him. Then let us talk it through, Mom. You don't have to hide anymore, he said, surprising himself with his calmness. Let us unpack it together. For the first time in ages, he felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe this wasn't just another painful memory. Maybe it was a doorway to something better, as his mom nodded, a soft smile emerging through her tears. Jake couldn't shake the feeling that tonight's revelation was merely a prelude to something larger, something that could change the trajectory of their relationship forever. What lay ahead? Could they truly rebuild from the rubble of the past? The thought lingered in Jake's mind like a question yet to be answered, an uncertain path veiled with the promise of healing. Jake felt the chill around them dissipate, replaced by the warmth of shared vulnerability. His mom wiped her cheeks, taking a deep breath as if readying herself for a plunge into the depths of their tangled history. Jake, there is something else, something I've never told you, she said, her voice a thin thread hanging in the air. What could be more than what you just shared? He asked, sensing the weight of her words. I didn't just distance myself because of my struggles. There were parts of your past that I kept hidden, she said, looking straight into his eyes. You have a sister. A silence fell over them, thick and disorienting. Jake blinked, searching her face for signs of a joke or a mistake. A sister? What are you talking about? Her name is Lily, she said softly, a tremor resonating through her words. When I was pregnant with her, I felt overwhelmed. Your father and I were already in a hard place, so I made the most painful decision of my life. I gave her up for adoption. A whirlwind of emotions churned within him: shock, confusion, a flicker of anger. Why didn't you ever tell me? I can't believe this. She winced, looking almost frail in the soft light. I thought it was the best for everyone, including you. I wanted to shield you, to protect you from that pain. But it never left me. I always carried guilt with me, for both of you. Protect me? Jake echoed, his voice rising more than he intended. You kept a part of my life hidden. How is that protecting me? What if I could have done something? What if I could have known her? His mom took a step closer, her expression pained. I know I was wrong. I never thought this would weigh so heavily on you too. I just didn't want you to feel overshadowed or rejected. He crossed his arms, feeling walls built not by years, but by buried emotions. But I've been living this whole time without knowing. You could let me share in that struggle. I can't change the past, Jake, she whispered, tears welling again. But I want to make things right. I want to find her, and I want you to know your sister. Every pulse in Jake's chest felt like a drumbeat, marking the intensity of the moment. Possibilities flooded his mind, meeting a sister he never knew, learning about her life, unraveling stories hidden away by time. Would it be like a fairy tale, something he had only read about, or would it lead to even more questions? "Do you think she wants to be found?" he asked hesitantly. "I think deep down, she deserves to know who you are. And you deserve to know her," his mom replied earnestly. Jake took a moment, trying to soak in the enormity of what lay ahead. Could they really embark on this journey? Could they make up for lost time? Just then, the distant sounds of the gathering drifted back, the laughter, the music, the energy of life. It felt strange, almost mocking against the intensity of their conversation. "What do we do now?" Jake finally asked, uncertainty inching back in. His mom reached out, her hand trembling slightly. "We start by talking to someone who can help us locate her. I need you to trust me, Jake. This could be the beginning of something beautiful, or at least a chance to understand more of our family." Jake took her hand slowly, feeling the warmth radiate between them. It was a fragile connection, but it was alive. He could see a path ahead, one filled with uncertainty and fear, but also possibility. "Okay, let us do it," he agreed, a sense of determination settling within him. They stood together, hand in hand, both aware that this was merely the first step in a long journey. But in that moment, the thought echoed in Jake's mind: what other secrets would they uncover? The night stretched ahead of them like an unwritten page, and Jake couldn't shake the feeling that the next chapter of their lives was about to unfold, full of discoveries he never saw coming. As the dawning sun painted the small Midwest town in hues of gold, Jake and Doris stood in their kitchen, the morning light streaming in like optimism. The weight of last night lingered in the air, sweetened with the promise of healing. Jake's heart was lighter. The revelation of a sister, a piece of himself he had yet to meet, invigorated his spirit. "Can you believe we're finally taking this step?" Jake said, pouring coffee, the steam curling like thoughts spiraling through his mind. Doris's smile brightened the room, a beacon of unwavering support. "I believe in you, Jake," she replied softly, filling the space around them with warmth. "This is just the beginning." Together, they embarked on an emotional journey the night before, one filled with laughter and acceptance, but also unburied grief and secrets. There was a playful tension between excitement and the looming uncertainty of finding Lily. But deep down, Jake felt something shift. Something fundamental inside him was transforming. He was no longer just Doris's young husband. He was Jake, a burgeoning artist, a brother, poised at the edge of self-discovery. "Today is the day we chase the truth," he said determinedly. "No more hiding." Doris beamed, brushing her hand against his arm. As they set out on their mission to locate Lily, their small-town streets felt different, brighter. They ventured into the local library, a small hub of secrets, stories, and dusty stacks of books. It was here that they could begin their search. Jake stepped into the library with an invigorated heartbeat, the scent of old paper enveloping him, filling him with an odd sense of hope. "I feel like a detective," he joked, causing Doris to chuckle. "A creative detective on a quest." "Well, every artist needs a muse," she said, nudging him playfully. It felt like old times, the warmth between them healing fractures forged by doubts. They approached the librarian, an older woman with round glasses perched on her nose. With every question asked and every book looked through, the connection between Jake and Doris deepened. Cornered by the unexpected treasures of the library, they discovered the threads of Jake's past, and potentially of Lily's as well. Maps of family trees unfurled, pages turned with anticipation, and suddenly, it didn't seem so overwhelming to hope. After what felt like hours, they stumbled upon a scrap of information: an adoption agency located in another town, the very place where Jake's mother had relinquished her rights over her daughter. It was the first real lead. Doris squeezed Jake's hand tightly. "Look at how far we've come in just a day. You can do this, Jake." His eyes brightened. "We can do this together. This is about family." With renewed purpose, they decided to visit the agency. The drive was encapsulated in excited chatter, every word punctuated with enthusiasm as anticipation grew. There was still a thread of anxiety woven into their conversation, but it was cloaked in the fabric of hope. Upon arrival, they stepped into a small but warm office. The smell of fresh paint lingered, reminding Jake of his own art studio, flourishing with pending creations. The receptionist looked up, noticing the shared expressions of determination on their faces. "Can I help you?" she asked cordially. Jake took a deep breath. This was his moment. "Hi, I'm looking for my sister, Lily. I've recently found out that I have a sister who was placed for adoption," Jake articulated, attempting to keep his voice steady. The receptionist's brow furrowed for a split second before she softened. "Let me see what we can find." There was a spark of hope in Jake's heart as she began typing. Minutes felt like hours, and as she turned back towards them, Jake felt every nerve in his body tightening. "I can help you with your inquiry. However, it will take some time. If it's all right, I can take down your contact information and look into the files." Jake nodded, his hands trembling slightly. "Please, anything you can find would help." With every detail shared, Doris reached to encourage Jake, her eyes sparkling with shared anticipation. After exchanging information, they left the agency, a gentle breeze fluffing around them like affirmations. It felt like the air itself whispering hope as he and Doris walked back to the car, both elated and exhausted as they drove home. The sunlight dancing through the trees, a profound mix of feelings swirled within Jake, an energy charged with potential. He glanced toward Doris, who was humming softly, her hands partnered with joy on the steering wheel. She looked at him, eyes bright. "Are you ready for whatever comes next?" "Yes," he said, a huge smile spreading across his face. "I think I am. This is about family. And no matter what happens, I want her to know I'm here for both of us." As the days turned into weeks, the anticipation of reconnecting with a sister who had unknowingly shared the weight of secrets transitioned into a hopeful journey. Those whispers in the small town faded into the background, washed away by the relentless rhythm of life moving forward. In the days to come, Jake found himself in front of a new canvas, paint spilling out as vibrant as the feelings swirling within. Each stroke resonated with his story, an artist ready to embrace not just the canvas, but the tapestry of connections forged through family, love, and honesty. And then, the call came, an unknown number flashing across his phone. A rush of adrenaline shot through him. This could be it. He exchanged a glance with Doris, who nodded. He breathed deeply, collecting strength, and answered. "Hello? Is this Jake?" A soft voice responded, light and tentative. "Yes, it is," he said, heart racing. "I think we need to talk." And with those words began a new chapter. A journey that now intertwined all souls connected by love and life, a sister he yearned to know. A family reunited. As Jake's journey continued, every brush stroke infused with meaning. He understood this was the very essence of true art, connecting hearts, facing fears, and embracing the beautiful mess of life. After all, every masterpiece began with a single stroke. A simple decision to embrace the unknown and let love lead the way. If you want to see how this story continues, you need to subscribe now to the channel. Don't wait not even one more second to share this transformative journey. Leave a like now to help us reach even more hearts longing for inspiration. You can comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. And please share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support.